Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Learn English with Podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Tony. We are so happy to have you here with us today. We have a great topic to discuss.
That's right. Today, we are talking about good series to learn English. We will share some of our favorite TV series that can help you improve your English skills.
Yes, watching TV series is a fun way to learn English. You can hear how people really talk, learn new words, and practice listening.
Exactly, Tony. So, let's start by sharing our own experiences with learning English through TV series. Tony, what series did you watch to help improve your English?
Well, Nikki, one of the first series I watched was Friends. It's a great show because the characters speak in everyday English. The conversations are natural, and it's very funny. I learned a lot of common phrases and expressions from Friends.
Friends is a classic. I love that show too. The humor and the way the characters interact make it easy to understand and follow.
Yes. And another good thing about Friends is that the episodes are not too long. You can watch one episode, learn something new, and not feel overwhelmed.
That's a great point, Tony. I started watching The Office, the American version. It's hilarious and has a lot of workplace vocabulary. It really helped me understand how people talk at work.
Oh, The Office is another great choice. The characters are unique and their interactions are so funny. Plus, you get to learn about office culture in the US.
Yes, and because the show is a mockumentary, the characters often talk directly to the camera, which makes it feel like they're talking to you. It helped me improve my listening skills a lot.
That's awesome, Nikki. Watching TV series like Friends and The Office can really help you learn English in a fun and relaxed way.
Absolutely, Tony. And today, we will also hear from some guests who will share their favorite TV series for learning English. They will tell us why they chose those series and how it helped them.
Yes, we have some great stories coming up. But first, let's sum up why watching TV series is a good way to learn English.
Sure. First, it's fun and keeps you interested. Second, you hear real-life conversations and slang. And third, you can learn about different cultures and everyday life.
That's right. And remember, you don't have to understand every word. Just try to follow the story and enjoy it. You'll learn more each time you watch.
Great advice, Tony. Now it's time to hear from our first guest. Let's give a warm welcome to Zoe. Hi, Zoe. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Nikki and Tony. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you here, Zoe. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Zoe. I love watching TV series, and one of my favorites is Stranger Things.
Stranger Things is a fantastic show. Why did you choose it to help with your English?
I chose Stranger Things because it's very exciting and has a great story. The characters are interesting, and the English they use is modern and natural.
That sounds great. Can you give us an example of something you learned from Stranger Things?
Yes. For example, I learned the phrase to figure out. In the show, the characters often say things like, "We need to figure out what's happening." It means to understand or solve something.
That's a useful phrase. How did you feel when you started watching Stranger Things? Was it difficult to understand?
At first, it was a bit difficult because the characters speak quickly. But I used subtitles in English, and it helped me a lot. After a few episodes, I started to understand better.
Using subtitles is a great tip. Did you watch the show alone or did you discuss it with friends?
I watched it with friends who are also learning English. We would talk about each episode and help each other with new words and phrases.
That sounds like a fun and helpful way to learn. Do you have any favorite characters from the show?
Yes. I really like 11. She doesn't speak a lot at first, but when she does, her words are very meaningful. It was interesting to see her learn to communicate.
11 is a great character. Did you find that watching Stranger Things helped with your speaking and listening skills?
Definitely. I improved my listening skills a lot because I had to pay attention to understand the story. And talking about the show with friends helped me practice speaking.
That's wonderful, Zoe. It's clear that Stranger Things helped you in many ways. Would you recommend it to other English learners?
Yes, I would. It's a great show with an exciting story, and it helps you learn everyday English in a fun way.
Thank you so much, Zoe, for sharing your experience with us. We're glad to hear how Stranger Things helped you improve your English.
Thank you, Tony and Nikki. I'm happy to share my story.
All right, everyone, let's take a moment to review some of the new words and phrases we learned from Zoe's story. First, we have to figure out, which means to understand or solve something.
Yes. Like in the sentence, we need to figure out what's happening. It's a very common and useful phrase.
Another word is subtitles. These are the words on the screen that help you understand what the characters are saying. It's very helpful for learning new languages.
And let's not forget meaningful. This word means something that is full of meaning and important. Zoe said that 11's words are very meaningful.
Finally, we have communicate, which means to share or exchange information. Learning to communicate is a big part of learning a new language.
Great. Now that we've reviewed, let's get ready for our next guest.
It's time to meet our second guest. Please welcome David to the show. Hi, David.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Tony. Thank you for inviting me.
It's great to have you here, David. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. My name is David. One of the TV series that really helped me is The Big Bang Theory.
The Big Bang Theory is a fantastic show. Why did you choose it to help with your English?
I chose The Big Bang Theory because it's very funny and has a lot of interesting vocabulary. The characters are scientists, so you get to hear a mix of everyday English and some scientific terms.
That sounds really interesting. Can you give us an example of something you learned from The Big Bang Theory?
Of course, one phrase I learned is to break down. In the show, they often say things like, "Let me break it down for you," which means to explain something in a simple way.
That's a very useful phrase. How did you feel when you started watching The Big Bang Theory? Was it challenging?
At first, it was a bit challenging because they speak quickly and use some technical words, but the humor made it easier to follow, and I used subtitles to help understand the difficult parts.
Using subtitles is a great strategy. Did you find the scientific terms hard to understand?
Sometimes yes, but I focused more on the everyday conversations and the jokes. The scientific terms were interesting, and I would look them up if I was curious.
That's a good approach. Did you watch the show alone, or did you discuss it with others?
I mostly watched it alone, but I also talked about it with friends who are fans of the show. We would discuss the funny scenes and share our favorite quotes.
That sounds fun. Do you have a favorite character from the show?
Yes, I really like Sheldon Cooper. He's very smart but also very funny because he takes everything so literally. His unique way of speaking helped me learn new expressions.
Sheldon is a great character. Did watching The Big Bang Theory help you with your listening and speaking skills?
Definitely. It helped me a lot with listening because I had to pay attention to the jokes and conversations. And trying to repeat the funny lines helped with my speaking.
That's awesome, David. It's clear that The Big Bang Theory helped you improve your English in a fun way. Would you recommend it to other English learners?
Yes, I would. It's a funny show with lots of interesting conversations, and it helps you learn both everyday and some advanced vocabulary.
Thank you so much, David, for sharing your experience with us. We're glad to hear how The Big Bang Theory helped you improve your English.
Thank you, Nikki and Tony. I'm happy to share my story.
All right, everyone, let's take a moment to review some of the new words and phrases we learned from David's story. First, we have to break down, which means to explain something in a simple way.
Yes. Like in the sentence, "Let me break it down for you." It's a useful phrase when you want to explain something clearly.
Another word is technical. This means related to a specific subject, especially science or engineering. David mentioned the show has some technical terms.
And let's not forget literal. This word means taking words in their most basic sense without metaphor or exaggeration. Sheldon Cooper is known for being very literal.
Finally, we have unique, which means one of a kind or special. David said Sheldon's unique way of speaking helped him learn new expressions.
Great. Now that we've reviewed, let's get ready for our next guest. Stay with us.
Now, It's time to meet our third guest. Please welcome Annie to the show. Hi, Annie.
Hi, everyone.
We're happy to have you here, Annie. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure, my name is Annie. One of the TV series that helped me a lot is Friends.
Friends is such a popular choice. Why did you choose it to help with your English?
I chose Friends because it's very funny and the characters speak in everyday English. The situations are relatable and the dialogue is easy to follow.
That's great. Can you give us an example of something you learned from Friends?
Of course, one phrase I learned is to hang out. In the show, the characters often say things like, "Do you want to hang out later?" which means to spend time together.
That's a very common and useful phrase. How did you feel when you started watching Friends? Was it hard to understand?
At first, it was a bit hard because they speak quickly and use a lot of slang, but I used English subtitles and that made it much easier to understand. The more I watched, the more I got used to it.
Using subtitles is such a helpful strategy. Did you find the humor in the show helped with your learning?
Definitely, the humor kept me interested and made learning fun. Even when I didn't understand everything, I still enjoyed the show. Plus, the jokes helped me learn about American culture.
That's a good point. Did you watch Friends alone, or did you discuss it with others?
I watched it alone, but also talked about it with my classmates. We would discuss our favorite episodes and funny scenes. It was a great way to practice speaking.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Do you have a favorite character from the show?
Yes, I really like Chandler Bing. He's very sarcastic and always has funny comments. His humor helped me learn how to understand and use sarcasm in English.
Chandler is a fantastic character. Did watching Friends help you with your listening and speaking skills?
Absolutely. It helped me a lot with listening because I had to follow the conversations and jokes. And trying to repeat the funny lines helped with my speaking and pronunciation.
That's awesome, Annie. It's clear that Friends helped you improve your English in a fun way. Would you recommend it to other English learners?
Yes, I would. It's a funny show with lots of everyday conversations, and it helps you learn both vocabulary and cultural references.
Thank you so much, Annie, for sharing your experience with us. We're glad to hear how Friends helped you improve your English.
Thank you, Nikki and Tony. I'm happy to share my story.
All right, everyone. Let's take a moment to review some of the new words and phrases we learned from Annie's story. First, we have to hang out, which means to spend time together.
Yes, like in the sentence, "Do you want to hang out later?" It's a very common phrase used by friends.
Another word is slang. This means informal language often used in casual conversations. Annie mentioned that Friends uses a lot of slang.
And let's not forget sarcastic. This means using irony to mock or convey contempt. Chandler Bing is known for his sarcastic comments.
Finally, we have cultural references, which means mentions of things that are part of a particular culture. Watching Friends helps you learn about American cultural references.
Great. Now that we've reviewed, let's get ready for our next guest. Stay with us.
It's time to meet our fourth and final guest. Please welcome Oscar to the show. Hi, Oscar.
Hi, Nikki and Tony. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you here, Oscar. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. My name is Oscar, and I've been learning English for about 6 years. One of the TV series that helped me a lot is How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother is a great choice. Why did you choose it to help with your English?
I chose How I Met Your Mother because it's very funny and the characters use a lot of everyday English. The story is interesting, and the way they tell it is unique.
That sounds interesting. Can you give us an example of something you learned from How I Met Your Mother?
Sure. One phrase I learned is to suit up. In the show, Barney often says suit up, which means to wear a suit. It's a fun way to learn about dressing up.
That's a very unique and fun phrase. How did you feel when you started watching How I Met Your Mother? Was it challenging to understand?
At first, it was a bit challenging because they speak quickly and use a lot of jokes. But I used English subtitles, which helped a lot. The more I watched, the more I understood.
Using subtitles is a great strategy. Did you find the humor in the show helped with your learning?
Definitely. The humor kept me engaged and made learning fun. Even when I didn't understand every joke, I still enjoyed the show. It helped me learn about American humor and culture.
That's a good point. Did you watch How I Met Your Mother alone? Or did you discuss it with others?
I watched it alone but also talked about it with my friends who are also learning English. We would discuss our favorite episodes and the funniest scenes. It was a great way to practice speaking.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Do you have a favorite character from the show?
Yes. I really like Barney Stinson. He's very funny and always has interesting phrases and catchphrases. His character helped me learn new expressions.
Barney is a fantastic character. Did watching How I Met Your Mother help you with your listening and speaking skills?
Absolutely. It helped me a lot with listening because I had to follow the fast-paced conversations and jokes. Trying to repeat the funny lines also helped with my speaking and pronunciation.
That's awesome, Oscar. It's clear that How I Met Your Mother helped you improve your English in a fun way. Would you recommend it to other English learners?
Yes, I would. It's a funny show with lots of everyday conversations, and it helps you learn both vocabulary and cultural references.
Thank you so much, Oscar, for sharing your experience with us. We're glad to hear how I Met Your Mother helped you improve your English.
Thank you, Nikki and Tony. I'm happy to share my story.
All right, everyone. Let's take a moment to review some of the new words and phrases we learned from Oscar's story. First, we have to suit up, which means to wear a suit.
Yes. Like in the sentence, suit up. It's a fun phrase to use when you want to dress formally.
Another word is catchphrase. This means a phrase that is often repeated and becomes associated with a particular person or character. Barney has many catchphrases.
And let's not forget fast-paced. This means happening very quickly. Oscar mentioned that the conversations in the show are fast-paced.
Finally, we have engaged, which means interested and involved. Watching a show that keeps you engaged is very helpful for learning a language.
Great. Now that we've reviewed, let's wrap up our discussion.
We've had some amazing guests today sharing their experiences with learning English through TV series.
That's right, Nikki. We've heard about Stranger Things, The Big Bang Theory, Friends, and How I Met Your Mother. Each show has its unique way of helping with English learning.
Absolutely. Let's quickly summarize the key points we learned from our guests. Watching TV series can help improve your English by exposing you to real-life conversations, slang, and cultural references.
Using subtitles is a great strategy to understand better and learn new words. Discussing the show with friends can also help you practice speaking and improve your listening skills.
Yes. And remember, you don't have to understand every word. The important thing is to enjoy the show and try to follow the story. Your understanding will improve with time.
We hope these tips and experiences inspire you to start watching TV series as a fun way to learn English. Practice makes perfect, so keep watching and learning.
And don't forget to practice speaking by repeating phrases and sentences you hear. It's a great way to improve your pronunciation and fluency.
Thank you to our wonderful guests, Zoe, David, Annie, and Oscar, for sharing their stories and helping us learn new words and phrases.
Yes, thank you all. And thank you, our listeners, for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Learn English with Podcast.
Remember to practice every day and make listening to our podcast a part of your daily routine.
And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, give us a like, and share this episode with your friends.
We appreciate your support. Until next time, keep learning and have fun with your English.
See you next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.